Hi, this week we're going to look at the life of Jesus as we study his background, who his family was. And we're going to see that four of the female members of his family had reputations, and there was sexual scandal related to them. Tamar, let's see, Rahab, Ruth, and Bathsheba, who slept with King David. Ruth, the Moabites, all of these women were foreign, by the way. Let's see, Ruth, Moabites had a bad reputation. Rahab, of course, was a prostitute, and Tamar, doing the right thing in a country where a heir was promised, slept with her father-in-law, Judah. And Jesus is called the Lion of Judah, a descendant of Judah. And so what I want to do is look at one application to help your family. First, a promise. Jesus allowed himself to be associated with families with a past, with families that had scandal in them. David murdered Bathsheba's wife after taking her for his own. And there were consequences in David's family. It said the sword would never depart from his family. And sure enough, three of his kids died, in addition to the child born with Bathsheba. So in difficult family situations, and in families that have some background that we're not proud of, along comes Jesus, born into a human family. And what a wonderful promise, because Jesus is willing to be a part of your family. He's not worried about the reputation, about being associated with you. And so we see the promise of the gospel in something as simple as the genealogy in Matthew chapter 1 of Jesus' family, and particularly these four women and the men associated with them. But I want to give you an application in addition to the promise. And it comes from Isaiah 58. And it is verse 9 in Isaiah 58. This wasn't my idea. It was originated by a well-known pastor of what to do in messy families. God has saved you and me to be a life changer, a game changer, to receive the promises of God and do something, bring salvation into our families. Sometimes it's hard to do the right thing in a family. It's hard to be honest. God asks you to be honest and speak the truth in love. And it's hard to speak up, particularly with grown children or their children. So God talks in Isaiah 58 about why prayers aren't answered. It talks about why things aren't better. And you know what he says? He says, don't try to be more religious. Do the right thing. He says this in verse 9, you'll call, I'll answer, if you do away with the yoke of oppression and finger pointing. That's what it says. If you do away with the yoke of oppression and pointing the finger and malicious talk. Sometimes our families and our prayers aren't getting better because we're pointing fingers at each other. And maybe you're wondering what to do in a family situation. Perhaps learn that, one, God promises to work in your family. Jesus worked with a terrible family tree. And two, if you do away with the yoke of oppression, with the pointing finger and malicious talk, and if you spend yourself in behalf of the hungry, satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in darkness. The Lord will guide you. He will strengthen you. You will be a well-watered garden. Number 12, promises that God will rebuild, use you to be a restorer, use you to be a repairer. Isaiah 58 says, quit pointing fingers at each other. Quit gossiping and hurting by the things that we might say in a hard family conflict. And he says this, your people will rebuild the ancient ruins. They'll raise up age-old foundations. You'll be called a repairer of broken walls, a restorer. And I want to leave you with just this note of hope that your family can be repaired, it can be rebuilt, and it can be restored. Practical thing to do today, watch what you say, avoid blaming, pointing fingers, and do the right thing in a hard family situation. Trust God. His promises are true, and they're true for your family. God bless you.